Jody has a so it's kind of shocking when she says that. Anyway, so without further ado, I as you know, I just want to again welcome Jody. Thank you so much, Jody. Really, truly, truly for agreeing to uh, yeah, guest lead us into this amazing. I'm such a lover of sound, and I know obviously everybody here is too. So welcome. And by way of introduction, Jody, I first heard of Jody actually because she founded this incredible yoga studio that is like an iconic yoga studio in Portland called Yoga Shala. And a friend of mine, who is an amazing yoga teacher, introduced me to Jody when I was looking to have somebody with some expertise around sound to teach. So it's wonderful. And Jody, has been she's a student with the tradition of Sri Krishnamacharya, Krishnam Acharya, my mouth this morning, and Desikachara, and practices also Vina Yoga. And again, she's had about 30 years of studying and over 20 years of teaching this stuff, which is really, really amazing. And among many, many of her practices, also works for, works not for, but, teaches people at companies like Nike and Fortune 500 companies. So it's a really beautiful balance of heaven and earth, as we like to say, that we have Jody joining us. And I'm just going to pass it on to Jody, and I will mute myself and I will talk to you guys all at the end of the session. So thank you very much, Jody, for being here.
Absolutely. So I am very excited to teach this because this is the kind of stuff that I really can't teach in my corporate settings. To ask people to make sound at Nike, like to make sound, like Neva's going, yeah. Yeah, I can't do it. So I can do it. I could do it in my yoga studio and I can do it here. But when I teach at the corporate centers, it's just too much for them. And it's not that we're doing anything really crazy. It's just that it's just kind of so it's just they have to make a sound, and that's hard for people, I think, especially when you're around your work people. So I don't get to do it very often, but it is the thing that I love. And the reason why I love this practice is because, so I'm going to tell you a short story. When I first started to practice this, so let me give you a little bit of a background about Krishnamacharya and the practice of Vina Yoga, or Desikachara was Krishnamacharya's son, and that's who I studied with. And when they talk about the tools of yoga, so asana is one tool, and all of the tools of yoga are to set you up for meditation. These days in yoga, you just do an exercise class. And then maybe at the end of the class, you do that last pose called Shavasana. And some of the teachers will incorporate a little bit of meditation at the end. But I found that oftentimes in what's happened now is meditation is a separate thing. They think of yoga as separate and meditation as separate. And they really are, the practice of the movement is to bring you into a state where you can then drop into meditation. And there's many tools. And so there's something called nyasa, right? Where you touch, and you can touch here, you can touch here. And then there's the sound, there's the voice, and there is visualization. And there's just a ton of tools. Coffee can be a tool. Right? So you can bring in all these different tools to bring the attention of the mind to a specific thing. When we use sound, it takes us into this deeper, very deep place of when we were, it takes you right into your center. And when you do that, it changes the way you move. So when I have people in teacher training that would be observing classes and we would bring in sound, I would say, what was the thing that you noticed the most? And they go, when you use the sound, the bodies soften. People don't think that they have to be doing things just the right way and I've got to be all this and that. Like, they soften, and then they go deeper into postures, and then things that they couldn't do before start to open up a little bit. And you start to notice your energetic body very quickly. So it drops you in deep. And, you know, as I asked some of my students, and I think you use some of those quotes in the literature, Ladon, that said about it just takes them into a place quicker. I mean, Neva, I'm gonna just pull you out here and say, what does it do for you? Because here you are, you practice this, and you're like, 2 hours of this is gonna be great.
I know, I'm actually really excited because, as Jody says, usually in a class you can only do maybe 10, 15 minutes of it because you're, you know, mostly people there are there to move their body and to exercise. But I think, as she said, that's a false dichotomy, because if you're using sound throughout the class, but you have to do it in kind of a setting where people are willing to do that and to open up, because people get very self-conscious. But if you can find a class and a group of people that you can move and make noise with at the same time, the feeling is completely different. I come out feeling much more loose. I don't feel like it's been a class. I feel more energized than I do normally when we don't do that. So I'm really excited that we get to do this for 2 hours or an hour and some change.
So with that, so when I experienced this, it was life-changing for me. And I had some pain in the right side of my body, and Jessica Char was coming to my yoga studio, but we were at I was in a four-year yoga therapeutics program. And so we were at a place and we were in our program, and he must have noticed. I never said a thing, but I had this pain. He saw it. So when we got to Portland, he said, he called, he said, it was a Saturday morning at 9 a.m., interestingly enough. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, having coffee. And he said, can I come over? And I was like, okay. And then he said, I want to see your garden, because his wife had been to my place. And he said, I heard about your garden. So I took him through the garden to look at the roses and everything. And then he says, can I give you a practice? And I said, absolutely. So we went in and he gave me this practice that was so simple. And I was like, you're kidding me. This? You're giving me this? And he says, you'll be fine in 2 weeks. And it took about 3 days, and the pain went away, and it has never come. I mean, I can see what it was about now, where I couldn't see what, and I tried massage, acupuncture, I did the whole thing. My jaw was kind of frozen, my neck was, but I never said anything, but he knew. And and that dropping in with the sound, and I'm going to share that practice a little bit at the end of this class with you guys, and because I found it so profound. But it involves nyasa, it involves visualization, and involves sound and movement. So let's come up to stand, because I'm going to give you a little bit of some comparison. Now, here's one other thing I want to preface: no pain, no pain, no pain, lots of gain. Okay, you can turn your speakers off if you want when we're making sound. I think it'll be mostly my voice that we hear. If it becomes too distracting, you can turn it off. You can turn your mic off. But I would say, let's try leaving it on for now. And yeah, let's go for it. So we're gonna come up to stand. So remember, no pain, no pain. I'm gonna make a slight adjustment on my camera because I was moving it around a bit there. Get yourself comfortable. And the first thing that I'm going to have you do is just raise your arms. And bring your arms down. So just do that a few times. Just bring them up, bring them down. So the moves we're going to use obviously are going to be yoga, but the moves that we're making might not seem familiar to the yoga that if you've taken yoga, Western yoga, you may be like, well, what's this? This is something different, but it is more of the old school. So you're just moving your arms in any direction that you want to do. Just raise your arms forward, raise them out to the side. Just do that a few times. Make one last adjustment here. And then take one more round and then bring your arms down. And then what I'd like you to do is put your hands on your low belly. And then touch your nostrils. And bring your attention to your breath. So you're going to breathe through the nose. If your nose is stuffy, I'm going to say inhale through your mouth and see if you can exhale through your nose. So if you inhale through your mouth, kind of, and then exhale through the nose. But if you can inhale and exhale comfortably through the nose, go ahead and do that. And then release your arms. And as you inhale, raise your arms. And as you exhale, bring your arms down. So you're matching now the movement of the breath, movement with the breath. So when you start to raise your arms, you're inhaling, and as you start to bring the arms down, you're exhaling, and when you bring your arms down, your exhale is finishing. Back to the front. One more out to the side. And then this time, see if you can make your breath just a little longer than the movement. So you're still inhaling when your arms stop moving, and then you start your exhale, then you start your movement, and you're still exhaling once your arms stop moving. Same thing out to the side. Start your inhale, start your movement. Still inhaling. And then begin your exhale, and then your movement. When you stop moving, you're still have a little bit of exhale. So it's comfortable, right? You find your movement pattern. You don't have to match me. You're finding your breath, your movement. How about one more out to the side? Now, I'd like you to inhale your arms to the front. And as you bring your arms down, say, Shanti. So that's a familiar word. Shanti means peace. Inhale out to the sides. And as you exhale, Shanti. Back to the front.
Shanti.
Shanti. Back up to the sides. Shanti. Let's do one more. Shanti. Shanti. So now, inhale, raise your arms to the front, and exhale, touch the top of the head. Inhale, raise your arms, and exhale, touch your throat. Inhale, raise. Exhale, touch the heart. Inhale into the solar plexus. Exhale. Inhale into the belly. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to the top of the thighs. Inhale. And go down to the knees. Inhale. Go to the center of the shins. Exhale. Inhale. You know, and as we go down, if you find that you're like, I'm fine where I don't want to take it any further, that's fine. You stay where it's comfortable. Down to the ankles. Inhale up. Remember, no pain. Exhale down to your feet. Inhale up. Exhale, now chant Shanti. Shanti. Touching the top of the head. Inhale. Chant Shanti. Bring your hands to your throat. Shanti. Inhale. Exhale to the heart. Shanti. Inhale. Exhale, solar plexus. Shanti. Inhale to the belly. Shanti. Inhale. Exhale to the top of the thighs. Shanti. Inhale to the knees. Shanti. Inhale to the center of the shins. Shanti. Inhale to your ankles. Shanti. Inhale to the feet. Shanti. Inhale and exhale down. Shanti. Let's take the right foot, turn it out, step your left foot. I'm going to turn to the side. Take your left foot forward. So just a comfortable small warrior, doesn't have to be long. And then place your hands on your heart. And just take your arms out. Bring your arms back. Straighten the front leg, bend as you arch. And now inhale and exhale. Now let's use the sound. Inhale. Shanti. Keep going at your own pace. Shanti. 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 Two more. Shanti. Shanti. Switch sides. Try one, just with movement. Try one with breath. And then with the chant. Shanti. 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 Two more. Shanti. Shanti. Step back. Take your feet wide. Take an inhale, raise the arms out to the side. And then you're going to take a little twist and exhale. Bring your arm down, just on the side of the leg. And then inhale, bring yourself back up. And to the other side, exhale. Let your feet be in whatever position feels best for you. So if it's turning your feet out, turning your feet parallel, turning toes in, whatever feels best for you, okay? So again, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and now let's use this chant. Shanti. 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 Two more rounds, please. Shanti. 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 And inhale, arms to the front. And then exhale all the way forward. Inhale and up. And now use the chant. Shanti. Take one more. Shanti. And this time, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. And this time, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Same thing. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Then arms down. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let's come down to the hands and knees. If you need a blanket under your knees, definitely put one there. And we're going to go back into child's pose. So we're going to arch the back. And then when you go back to child's pose again, if you've got any issues with your knees, you just go as far as is comfortable for you, right? You don't have to go all the way back. So we'll start here and we'll inhale. Chin in, exhale. Shanti. So back to that one Shanti. Press the feet, come up, inhale. Again, Shanti. And now Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Now Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Stay in your child's pose. Come up onto the hands and knees, and then come over onto your back. If you want your knees bent, you can keep the knees bent. If you want the legs straight, that's fine too. Arms down. Just raise your arms up. Bring your arms down. And do that again now with the breath. Inhale. And exhale. So we're doing 2, 2, and 2, lengthening the Shanti. Inhale up. Shanti. Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, as you exhale, mentally chant Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. With your next inhale, raise your arms overhead. And exhale, bring your arms down and gently bring your legs in. So drawing your limbs in towards one another. Gently bring the legs in and stretch the legs away. And as you exhale, bring the legs in. And as you inhale, take the legs away. And then with your next exhale, as you bring the legs in, roll to whichever side you'd like. And transition up to sit. And if you want to sit on a pillow or come back to your chair, whatever works for you. And we're finishing this with the chant again. And this time we'll use the long chant. So you're going to touch first your index finger to your thumb. So it would be Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And then you'll inhale. And then the thumb to the index finger. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And then we'll go to the middle finger, to the ring finger, and to the pinky. And we'll repeat that again. Index finger to the thumb first, then the thumb to the index finger, thumb to middle, thumb to ring, thumb to pinky. We're going to do that 3 rounds, all right? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. 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 When you've finished, just notice the vibration in the body. And the mind may take you somewhere else. You can again bring in mentally shanti, shanti, shanti on your exhale. Now with your next inhale, raise your arms. And exhale, bring the arms down. Again, inhale, raise. And exhale down. Open the eyes when you're ready. And we're going to take a little bit of a transition, and then I'd like to bring everyone back in and hear your experience of what we just did. So let's take 5 minutes and then we'll come back, okay?
So we'll come back at 9:55 or 55.
9:55.
Yeah, 55 after whatever hour you
Yeah, whatever hour. So I want to just kind of explain a little of what we did. So we used a very common, everybody knows shanti, peace. And you could even just say peace, you know, you wouldn't even need to say shanti, but you know, it just sounds so, it's a little nicer than, it's more of a flow than peace does. But the idea is I had you do some movement without breath. And then I had you do movement with breath. Then I tweaked the breath a little bit by making the breath longer than the movement. And then we used the sound. And I wanted you to see the difference, you know, to experience the difference between those things and how, you know, when we could do a practice where we would start our movement, then we'd start our inhale, and then we'd start our exhale, and then we'd start our movement, right? So these are all tools to bring you focused, because it was hard to kind of go off when you were trying to think the breath's got to be longer than the movement, right? You really have to stay present. So it takes you out of your patterns. And there was something else that happened. You notice that we did this touching. So there's the nyasa to bring attention. And if you notice, these places that we touched were chakras. Now, I won't go into a whole chakra thing, but in my tradition, it's not a new agey thing. It's a measurement. The chakras were used for a measurement of stability and balance in the body, because there was no math at that time. So it would be 4 angulas, 4 fingers between these spaces. And if somebody was like this, you would say their chakras were not aligned, right? It's very practical. This is a very practical and brilliant practice. And so this is what I love about the yoga. And there's another philosophy, darshana, called Sankhya philosophy. And they're the sisters, those two. And they're science. And this is what I love about this practice, because it's a science, right? So the idea of, you know, we're just bringing our attention to this alignment, right, through the body by the touching, using the chanting. The other thing that we did is we started to add a longer chant. So what that did is it extended your exhale. When your exhale extends, you start to relax more. Now, if you're really pushing your exhale too much, like shanti, 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 like something like that, then you can have the opposite effect. You can be bringing the energy up. But usually, because I had the movements very simple and easy, we did lots of forward bending. We did a couple of back bends, but most of the movement was in forward bend. And again, that's a langana. So it's bringing the energy down, or bringing the energy into balance. You did nyasa again. You did the chants mentally. That really sets this in. So now your feedback, please. So I gave you what we did. This nyasa, by the way, if you were to look at your brain and do a brain scan after you do this, it's going to look very different than if you just sat down and did some meditation. There's a neurological thing that is going on with the touching, and you can even elaborate it. And that, yeah, I did the easy version. We did the easy version today. But so my teachers, here's one other thing. By having a teacher, they would watch, and when it starts to get mechanical, they would change it on you to keep you, they make the practice a little bit smarter than you. It's like, oh, they changed it. I must be, starting to get smarter than the practice. We need to make this, so there's all sorts of things that you can change and make a little bit more deeper, or, but anyway, feedback. Yeah, please unmute.
I felt, well, thank you, first of all. I felt so spacious, I felt my body became a little more, oops, my dogs think I'm talking to someone. I'm going to close the door. Well,
that's okay. Dogs and cats are typical in our classes.
I know, when I'm on Zoom, suddenly I'm talking to somebody and they're wondering who's in the house. So I felt the spaciousness and when walking around. But during the practice, especially when we're slowly reaching down towards the ground, it's like I felt like, I was connecting with my lower people. Like I was very up, like I think because we're thinking and body is more awareness of the upper body. But going down, if I really felt connecting with people, or even talking to people with the voice, like connecting with them, and that felt really wonderful. I may be saying one more thing. There's more, but it's okay to not be able to say it all. But I was wondering why we didn't go over the third eye chakra. Yeah.
Oh, I just did the head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, we could have done this and this.
And then you have your 5 fingers right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you.
So I actually loved first of all, thank you for doing this. It's a really beautiful practice. I found my little mind was like loving having instructions, and I was like, oh, this is peaceful and opening. But I was like thinking about it, waiting for my instructions, really proud of myself, got the chant down, but it really kept me doing it. And then when you sat down to have us you said, feel the vibration, and I'm like waiting and waiting. And then I realized, oh, just be here. And all of a sudden I had this flow. My body was sort of swaying, which is something that I haven't felt since I did Kundalini yoga back in Boston several years ago. And I was like, oh, it feels so good. Now I see you got me there by following those little instructions and just relaxing into it. So thank you.
Yeah. And do you see how simple it was?
Yeah. I'm gonna keep doing this recording over and over because it was
Yeah.
just, you just got me there and I was like, I'm here. Thank you.
Do you know what my teacher used to say? Somebody asked about Kundalini stuff and he went like this. He was sitting and there was a plug-in electrical outlet behind him, and he licked his finger and he stuck his finger to it. Because you do all of that really, really, hyper, like fast to drop you down. And somebody said, well, why do you compare this to Kundalini? He said, well, here's Kundalini. He stuck his finger towards the electrical outlet.
Ah,
I was like,
more
perfect.
peaceful.
And anyone else have anything? Because otherwise we're going to continue. I love this.
I just noticed that I meditate quite a lot, and when we sat at the end, my mind was so much calmer, and I was just able to, I mean, it was totally different. So it was very much a good preparation for that.
Again, I'm going to go back to the idea of the MRI. So Gary Krafskow, the Vini Yoga, has been working a lot with an insurance company, believe it or not, and they've been able to do some studies, and they have access to MRIs. They did all this stuff, and they did somebody just sitting down and doing a meditation, did them buying. Yes, things change, but then they had them do this practice and sit down and do the meditation, and it was completely different. It was like what took 20 minutes in the meditation was already there when they sat down.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the preparation for meditation. Yeah. And it's just like, you're right, when you go there, it's just like you've already dropped in. So you're right there. Yeah, it's science.
I'm so grateful that I showed up today, that you and Ladon created this space and taught this tool for meditating. At the end, when we sat down and we were silent, I cannot believe how long I felt the vibration for. And like being able to just focus on vibration instead of like, I don't know, other things that I feel like I've attended to before, like breath, sound, trying to attend to nothing. And it was just like, I was almost doing like a progressive muscle relaxation by noticing like where the vibration was in my body. I'd be like, oh, it's behind my eyelids. Like, oh, it's behind like it's in my nostrils. It's like in my knees or whatever. And like just attending to that. And then I noticed the vibration kind of stop. And then at the end, when you had it, like after that, when you had us like lift our arms up and like breathe, it literally, like I got like goosebumps. It felt so good. Yeah, my energy's just like totally changed, and I can't believe that I have this tool now. So thank you. And then the other thing that I noticed was that like all throughout the practice, when we would go from doing the chant to then just breathing, the like amplitude of my exhale just naturally was just so much like deeper, or like had like a bigger amplitude than when we were breathing prior to starting the chant in whatever position or motion we were doing.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for letting me share.
So you notice that I never focused you on inhale. I never told you to take a big inhale. No, but what we did is we lengthened the exhale. So that's like, I'm emptying the cup. And then when I empty the cup and I make the cup bigger because my exhale is going and I'm being longer with the exhale, the inhale will just come in. So a little bit again, because Neva knows that I just love the science. When you exhale, you have low pressure in your lungs, and there's 10 pounds per square inch on your body of pressure, high pressure. So low pressure here, high pressure here. So when you open a jar of peanut butter for the first time and you hear the, any kind of, that's what happens. The atmosphere pressure says there's low pressure there, I must fill it up. So it pushes its way into your body. So the atmosphere breathes you, you don't actually breathe it. So one less thing for you to worry about. So the idea of like, when I'm talking is long extended exhale, fast inhale, right? I didn't have to do anything, right? The atmospheric pressure goes low pressure. I'm going to fill it up. I can control the rate as it moves in. And I control the rate that it moves out, but it's going to come in no matter what. So I don't have to worry about that. So when we do those long extended exhales, you've got, it's like, I've moved it out. And then when you're ready to inhale, you've emptied the cup, it fills up. So learning to exhale is what we do. I'm not teaching anybody how to inhale. So if I have a child with asthma, we sing. I might put my hand here on the child, and then I have them do the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, X, T, U, V. And I see how long they can do it without taking an inhale. And then the inhale just pops in. So again, the same thing with people that have asthma, it's like teach them to exhale because all they want to do is inhale, right? So all of these tools, so that's what we're doing. We're just changing that thing, changing that thing, that neuro stuff. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, and we're not going to make this one a long practice, but I want you to see. So it's the middle of winter. It's really dark. You guys live in California, so that's June for you. So you're kind of depressed. Things are getting down. I'm going to teach you a practice that brings you up. Okay, so let's come on up. Now, one thing that I'm going to give one technical here. Look at my big old belly. So in this practice, we're going to make a sound, and it's going to be ha, boo, ha. Now, here's the thing. In our language, we kind of mumble, right? So everybody do this. Ha. Yes. Ah. Voo. Ha. Ha. Voo. Ha. Let's take it a couple of steps further. E. O. Ah. E. O. Ah. So we're changing and we're moving, and there's that vibration again. And in other cultures, they're very like, but our culture, we tend to go, ah. So that idea of using vowels, right? E, ah, O. I have to do this in the shower, right? And I just go through the vowels and open my mouth and stick my tongue out and do all of that, getting that vibration going. Looking like a dork. So here we go. So this idea of EIO. Now I did this. So it's ha, boo, ha. When I exhale, I'm going to try doing this. Ha. Did you see that? Ha, ha, boo, ha. So I'm drawing my navel back as a ha. When I inhale, I just let go. Ha, boo, ha. So it's not ha, it's not ha, boo, ha, I just keep drawing it back. Ha, boo, ha. So I'm moving the air up and out. Did you notice I'm already getting kind of more animated? So with this, I'm going to change my camera angle, and then we are going to go with.
Jody, can I ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's all on the same exhale, right?
Yeah.
So okay, great. It's one breath.
If you have to take an inhale, right? If it becomes too much, take an inhale, right? So if you're like ha, boo, ha, if you have to, you can just, all you have to do is, and the inhale will come in. We don't have to do. I want to get away from this idea that you have to do something for your inhale. Just bam. So if you're doing this and you're ha, boo, ha, but you need to take a breath, just do it. And then I'm going to tell you about this at the end. So as you can see, I get excited about this one. I love it. Okay, so inhale, exhale, Inhale out to the sides. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, bring your arms out. Now, ha, vu, ha. Let's take that 4 more times. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Now, take your warrior pose and inhale out. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. 2 more. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Switch to the other side. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. 2 more. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Take the legs out wide. Now this twist is going to be a little bit different than the one we did. So we're going to inhale out. And as we chant, we're going to twist. So go ahead and do that. Touch your back shoulder with your front hand, right? And then inhale back out. And I feel like you're corkscrewing through your legs, through your bones as you bring the hand to the shoulder. And then you'll inhale back out. Release your arms for a moment. So we will do 3 rounds. Take your hands to your lower belly for a moment. And as you exhale, let's try the ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Let's do one more. Ha, vu, ha. And inhale your arms out. And twist. Ha, vu, ha. 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 Let's raise the arms to the front, and we'll just take a few coming forward with the chant. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Ha, vu, ha. Then just chant, bring your arms down. Ha, vu, ha. Let's take the right hand to the shoulder. Let's take an exhale, bend over to your left side. Inhale. And then exhale. Ha, vu, ha. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend. Take your hand to the shoulder. Inhale, extend. Exhale, back to stand. Ha, vu, ha. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And chant. Ha, vu, ha. Take an inhale, left hand. Exhale, bend at the waist. Inhale, extend your arm. Exhale, chant, come back up to stand. Ha, vu, ha. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Ha, vu, ha. One more. Ha, vu, ha. Inhale, raise. And chant as you come forward. Ha, vu, ha. Inhale up. Exhale, bring your arms down. Come to lay down on your belly. Cobra position with your arms. You know what, I'm going to change that. Bring your elbows out. So like your, kind of arms akimbo, cactus pose, and turn your head over to your right side. Keep your bum relaxed. Gently draw your navel in. So that's that feeling of that ha, boo, ha, right? And then inhale, raise your head to center. And then chant as you turn your head to the left. Ha, boo, ha. Inhale, center. Chant as you turn your head to the right. Ha, boo, ha. Notice if you're starting to grip your bum, let it go. Let's try again. Inhale, center. And chant. Ha, boo, ha. Ha, boo, ha. Ha, boo, ha. Ha, boo, ha. One more round. Ha, boo, ha. Ha, vu, ha. And come to lie down on your back. We're going to do a few bridge poses without the chant. So comfortable position with your legs. You might notice how you're feeling. And then we're going to raise the pelvis. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, as you come down, think about your breath and your hands and your spine all ending at the same time. So don't worry again about the inhale, just going to come up, let your arms come up. And as you exhale, arms come down at the same rate as your spine and your exhale. Take 3 more. When you're finished, walk your feet a little wider. Place your hands at the kind of at the bottom of your rib cage, so sort of solar plexus. Take an exhale. And inhale, take your legs over to the right. And exhale, legs back to center. Think about your legs moving from where your hands are. With your next inhale, over to your left. Exhale. From that place where your hands are, bring your legs back to center. Inhale over to your right. Exhale, center. Inhale to the left. Exhale, center. Inhale to the right. Exhale, center. One more over to the left. Inhale. Exhale, center. Slide your hands to your knees. And exhale, bring your legs in. Press through your heels. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. Stretch your legs towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, ha, ha. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, ha, bu, ha. 3 more. Ha, bu, ha. Ha, bu, ha. Ha, bu, ha. Release your legs all the way down to the floor. Notice the feeling at the soles of the feet. Feeling in the palms of the hands. and notice the movement and the feeling through the limbs. And then into the torso, to the skull. And gather your limbs in towards center. Take a roll again to whichever side you'd like. Use your hands to guide you up. Again, come to sit in a chair. Sit on whatever you want. Just make sure you're comfortable. I'm going to change my camera a little bit here. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do this chant that you've already been doing. But how we're going to do this is I'm going to chant once, and then you're going to chant twice. Okay? So I'll chant once, you chant twice, and I'll do it with you. Okay? Ha. So remember this, drawing in. So if it helps to put your hands here, you know, that's fine. Ha. 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 Your turn. Ha. Ha-vu. Ha-vu. Ha. Ha-vu. Ha. Ha-vu. Ha. Ha-vu. Ha-vu. Ha. Ha-vu. Ha-vu. Ha. Ha-vu. 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 Ha. Ha-vu. 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 Ha. Ha-vu. 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 Ha. When you're ready, inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, bring them down. Inhale, raise them up. And exhale, bring them down. So you notice, you can just kind of sit with this and I'll talk, that the energy was very different. In the postures, we didn't do a lot of forward bending, but we did more back bending. When we were on the floor and doing the cobra with the arms out, you were really able to feel the belly drawing in. When we did the bridge position, again, that's an opening. I didn't have you chant because your throat was closed, right? But we focused on the exhale and the movement of the arms and the spine and the breath. Now, this chant that you were doing is from a very old Upanishad. And the length of the Upanishad talks about, thank you for the trees, thank you for the flowers, thank you for the birds. Basically, they're thanking everything in nature. And at the end of it, the chant is havu, 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 ha. And it goes on a bit. Havu, havu, havu. But you'll notice in Vedic chanting, in this chanting, it's not really singing. There is a version that adds in a couple more tones, but it's middle, high, and low. So it's always middle, could be middle, middle, low, high. Ha, havu, 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 ha. That's it, right? That chant means everything is fabulous. So after you thank all of the things in nature, you get to the end and you're like, everything is fabulous, everything is fabulous. How was the energy that you felt after that practice versus the shanti, shanti, shanti? You guys can turn if you want to turn your things on, you can turn them on. Oh, ask to unmute. You can unmute.
I think Barb's cat has something to say.
Yes, my dog came running in here when we were doing that one. He's like, what is going on?
So did the dog I'm with at the moment.
Yeah, dog too. He had to come in.
Wild.
Yeah, my dog kids kept coming in going, what are you doing? Where when we did the first one, he did not come in. By the way, we have somebody who practices with us. Her cat looks a lot like yours and always shows up for practice. Eva, did you think of Anna's cat?
I totally did.
There, I think because he was on the keyboard, I couldn't unmute. Sorry, Tiggs, to disrupt your bath. Yeah, he ignores me unless I'm doing something that I wouldn't want. At one point, he sat on the keyboard and everything went dark, so it was pretty funny.
So did you feel something
different
from that practice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt a gentle energizing for me, and it opened up my neck. So at the very end, felt it. And I've had a hernia surgery last fall right over my plexus solar. So I felt something, coming together, and that felt really good.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's so
Yeah.
wild that you say that, Natalie Pascal, because this is years ago. I had also my an abdominal surgery for some fibroids that I'd had. This is almost 26 years ago. Yeah. And that area is just kind of, usually it's just, I don't even, and I haven't had kids, and anyway, that area just doesn't really do much sometimes. But with this last practice, I had a similar experience to you, Natalie Pascal, where I feel like, oh, there is like sensation in there for the first time. It's like, it's very pronounced that I feel this sensation, and I think this is what's so amazing about sound, is that it just vibrates on the inside like nothing else can. It's kind of amazing. So yeah, anyway, thank you for mentioning that.
I just want to add that I felt very low energies. It was in early November, and suddenly I had this kindness to myself, like, oh, I remember now. That's why I was so low energy, and it made me, I'm still tearing up, like just from just being understanding and being kind and not impatient or upset or because I have low energy. But anyway, I have a few health issues, so it was very harmonizing. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you wished a little more kind of elated energy, but I felt more together, like throughout the you know, from my low people to my high.
Love that. I want to get in this last practice. So I want to describe what we're going to do a little bit. All the movement is going to be on exhale. Okay, we're going to lie down. So I want you to be comfortable. Don't get cold. So if you need to put slippers on or socks or anything, or put a blanket over, well, if you put a blanket on, just make sure your arms are on the outside. And we're going to lie down with the knees bent. And I'm going to show you the movement first so that you don't have to be like, what is she doing? So we're going to use the sound O, Ma, O. So it's not Om, it's O. O, Ma, O. Okay, and you don't have to do the aspiration. There's no ha, So in the Vedic chanting, there's things where you use this aspiration. So, if I'm doing if you can, and you can hear it, if I'm chanting to Gayatri, to the sun, the midday sun, Tatsavitur Varaniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayate. That sounds like noontime in the sun, right? So that, we're working. So this we could do with the moon. Oma Somaya, Somaya. So we can bring in like different visualizations. Noma, there's all sorts of things we could do. We're going to stay with Oma, O, because that's simple. Have a blanket, lie down on your back, and this is the movement. So we'll Oma, O, right? So we'll take a small inhale. Om, we'll inhale. Om, and then we'll do the other side. So the inhale is here. The inhale is here. The movement and the chanting is where you move and chant. Then we'll do that 5 times. Then after that, we're going to do it together 5 times with the chanting, and then we're going to silently chant and do 5 more. Okay? Get comfy. So before we begin the movement, let's just chant Om, Om. Let's do one more. Om, Om. Let's take an inhale. Small inhale, like, 2, 3 count. That's about it. And then raise your left arm. Om, Om. Inhale here. Chant, bring the arm down. Om. At the end, pause. Chant, right arm up. Om. Inhale. Om. Left arm. Om. Inhale. Om. 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 3 more rounds. Om. 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 5 times both arms together. Om. 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 哦。 5 times silent. And to the chanting. Gently turn your head from side to side. Bring your head back to center. Gently bring your legs in. Stretch your elbows out. Stretch the legs out a bit. And again, when you're ready, you can roll to whichever side you'd like. Come on up to sit. So that one No explanation needed. Natalie, I was thinking about what you were saying about your lower body and your upper body, you know, and that how this really made the connection between those two. Thank you so much for having me into your homes today. Really appreciate the openness to do this work. That was great. LaDon, thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. I know we're about 5 minutes, and does anybody have to leave right at 11? Like if we go 5 minutes over, is that okay for people? Is that okay? Okay, great. Because first of all, thank you so much. But I also just want to have 5 minutes of, if you're okay with that, Jody, any questions, anything that's coming up for people, so that we can squeeze every minute out of being with Jody. But please, just unmute and ask whatever you need to, or whatever you want to, so that you feel complete. But thank you so much, Jody. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, Ellen. Sorry, I'm going to mute myself.
I was just wondering if there's some meaning to the vibration, you know, if it actually it feels good. Does it have a physiological effect, the actual words and the vibrations you're using?
So, you know, the sound and the vibration of the word, the way that Sanskrit is put together is that the vibration of the sound has a purpose, right? It's just not put together, you know, these ancient practices. So the idea, the oh, ma, oh, I mean, that's why I said that one almost doesn't need an explanation, because it just drops you in. It's like ma, you know, you're calling in ma, right? The havuha, you know, that idea, that the way that sounds, and the uplifting. So they all have these vibrational qualities that are there to, I can give you an example. I had some pain. I have some scar tissue in my back. And I was working with one of my therapists when I was at the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram this is where I study. And it's a clinic. It's not an ashram. It's not there. It is a clinic. They work with hospitals. So somebody may have a stroke and they come and they say, we've done everything. Now go to the KYM. They will give you a practice. So I was doing this practice, and she had me in this certain pose, a pose called Jana Sirsasana. It's a seated pose. And she said, I'm going to give you this sound. And I said, oh, that hurt my back, you know, into the spot. It hurt. She said, okay, we change it. And she took a tone that was lower, that did not hurt my back. So they use the sounds and the tones to make the change. Yeah. It's so fascinating. And like I keep saying, it's so smart.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when you're silently chanting, like when you're imagining the chanting after when you're done moving and you're laying still, are you supposed to be visualizing the movement that you were previously doing? Like if we were doing this, am I supposed to be imagining doing that as I'm doing the chanting, or just lying still?
Just lying still. If it helps you to imagine the movement, do that. You know, the idea is that when you do chanting out loud, then when you find that when you go to that place of chanting internally, they say that that's when the change, like the real change starts to happen, like the really deep change. But you know, the movement, all of these things are to help bring you in, to help you bring the focus in. So, you know, one of my teachers said that when you get to that point where you don't even feel like you have to breathe, you know, and I've had, when that happens, Krishnamacharya would practice 3 hours in the morning before the sun came up. He said if he got one little bit of that moment, I can tell you when you see a sunset, you know, that moment you see that sunset before your mind comes in and says, where's my camera? Where's my, you know, I was thinking of Nevo seeing those things flying in the air. And then she said, oh, I wish I had turned my camera around. Once the mind gets in that process, so the minute she saw that, there's a, a moment before the mind gets in there and goes, I should have grabbed my camera. Oh, this reminds me of that sunset. Oh, let me go grab so-and-so, like that moment. Or another moment, if this is a really mundane one, when you are ready to lay down and put your head on the pillow, and you sit on your bed and you put your head on the pillow, that there's not much going on in that moment. Like those are those little moments where the mind isn't doing its thing, because the mind is always doing its thing. So what we're doing is we're just kind of turning the dial down. But when we do these practices, because you're changing the neurological patterns in your body by bringing your focus in, that's what these tools are for, because it helps you make the shift so much, quicker. And they're so simple. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. And then I had a follow-up question that I just put in the chat, but it's related. And I was just wondering, for that silent chanting, are you supposed to be timing your breathing, like timing your exhale to the chanting, or is it just?
So when you're chanting, that is your exhale. So you don't have to worry about, but you're matching the movement to the exhale or to the chant.
But like when you're doing the silent.
Oh, when you're doing the silent chanting, yeah, that can help. You can definitely, like, you're chanting mentally. I do that when I'm chanting. I'm doing it along with my exhale. Yeah. And sometimes I do it on my inhale too. But then I'm doing what happens there is I'm doing an equal inhale, equal exhale. So in the practices, the other thing about this stuff is it's all metered. Tatsavitur varaniyam bhargo devasya dhimahi, all the same meter. So I can use Tatsavitur varaniyam on my inhale mentally. I can hold my inhale. I can say bhargo devasya dhimahi. I can exhale. Dio yona prachodayate. They're all metered. So I can use a chant instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting is fine too. But, so you're using these, that's the other brilliance about this, is it's all metered. There's vibration, there's length, there is intention, there is the resonance of it, the up, the low, the middle. The one I started you out with, Shanti, 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 is kind of a middle ground, right? Then I took you, and then we went back down. So, and this thing, so simple, but so much release. So much like just dropping down. And again, just simple. But, like you can tell, there's a much more to this, and you can go deeper into it, and you can do all of these things, but you don't have to. You can stay with the simple, right? You can stay with these ideas of, like, I'm going to use that chant of Oma O, and I can do it silently. I can inhale, Oma O, hold my inhale. Oma O. I could even inhale silently, hold it, and then chant it out loud. Oma O. So by doing the hold after inhale, I'm bringing up the energy just a tad. I'm bringing my attention a little bit more there. I could also do it at the end of the exhale. Oma O, hold. Oma O, right? So there's all these things we can do to regulate and change the vibration and the energy in the body, in the mind. Did you guys like it? Ladies, what do you think? Was it good?
Yeah, this is Barb. I used to do a lot of yoga that was vinyasa yoga, ashtanga yoga, the sweaty power yoga kind of stuff. And fortunately had teachers who didn't teach it solely as exercise. But as I get older, it's harder to contemplate doing that kind of yoga. And I've kind of gotten away from my practice and wanted to come back to it. And this makes me feel like I can come back to a different yoga.
Yes. And
for the body I have now.
The man, Krishnamacharya, is the person who started Ashtanga Yoga. He taught Pattabhi Jois. He taught Pattabhi Jois because Pattabhi Jois was a child and he was a young boy and he taught it to young boys. But it was so physical, everybody loved it, so they did it. I know that you want to finish up, LaDon, so.
Well, what it sounds to me like is we may have to have a continuation of this chapter 1. I feel like we just had the preface. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I gave you a little, like, just a little bit of all of experiencing all 3 kind of levels. And then there's so much more we can do. We can bring in a pranayama practice and the chanting practice, right, leading us into meditation. We could do a practice where we do the asana, we do pranayama, and we do meditation.
I'm like a Sarah. I would like to do the ongoing classes, or if they exist somewhere. It's really neat. Everybody's saying me too in the chat too. It reminded me, I'm an acupuncturist and I can do a whole treatment with tuning forks, and certain forks have a different key, and I use I do Japanese meridian. I don't have to insert needles, but I do just techniques with different metals, but I don't do as much of the tuning fork. It makes me want to reconnect with it because it just gives such a the sound translate into a vibration. And not to say this cannot be replaced what you just taught too, so it's just brings back some ideas about vibration and how to learn to do it to ourselves.
Like I am all about using that in your acupuncture practice. That would be amazing.